Hi, I'm Sarah Jones from the Chocolate Strawberry and I'm guest tutor today for Pretty Witty. You've probably noticed this isn't the usual studio for Pretty Witty. This is my home in the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire. It's lovely to have the Pretty Witty team here with me today. We're going to do a selection of tutorials here for you today and I hope that you enjoy them. We're having a quick look at painting night skies again. This is painted out on fondant. We've done it with cocoa butter. Which sits really nicely on the dark fondant. A lovely way of doing night skies is with an airbrush, but you've got to get all that kit out and clean the kitchen down afterwards. This is a quick way of getting it done, so I'll show that for you now. I'm melting down some cocoa butter over boiling water, so I've got a little bowl of boiling water there, and I've got fully edible colour dust, not the craft colours, but these happen to be Sugar Flare, but any brand will do. And my brushes are all sable, and I'm going to use a mix of round end brushes and these square end brushes as well to put more paint down. We've got a full tutorial on how to use the paints elsewhere on the Pretty Witty site for you. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out my moon, because that's going to be the centre of my picture and it's going to be the thing that causes the light for everything else. Painting a circle can be a little bit harder than you imagine. So a nice little cheat is when your fondant is wet, just press in a little cookie cutter or similar, or just draw around something and give yourself some guidelines. When you use a cutter, it sort of creates a little gully which will catch the paint for you, make it easier for you. So I'm going to paint in a moon, but we don't need to get too stressed about the shape of it actually, because the clouds in this composition will cover any mistakes that we make anyway. So I'm going to put that in white. I've got a number 1 round-ended brush at the moment. You might prefer to do it with a square-ended one, but this just gives me enough control to get the moon in. So that will do for the moment. Now I want to make the sky not just a plain blue or a plain black. So the way that I do that is I always start with a much paler fondant and come up from there. So I've got a blue fondant at the moment. It's fairly blue, but it's not dark navy blue. However, I'm going to use a navy blue colour dust over the top. So I'm taking a bit of my oil and a bit of the blue dust. And with a square-ended brush, I'm going to do some just big, broad sweeps of colour. The one thing you don't want is all of these sweeps of colour to end in the same place, so you end up with a neat curl of colour anywhere. I want it to be really random. So I'm coming in from the sides, and all of my brush marks are going to end in different places. What I'm trying to think about doing though is leaving a fairly clear section around the moon, as if it's casting light out immediately around it. But I'm going to bring deeper shading in elsewhere, from the sides in. Okay, so that's the first layer in. You might want to use a great big brush like this. The bigger that you use, the less paint marks you're going to see. So it's just whatever you feel comfortable with, just nice smooth blending. Okay, so now I've done that, I am going to go a little bit deeper again, and I'll stick some black into that. And I'm going to add some more shading again, not ever completely covering all of my previous paint marks. So I'm going to continue along the same sort of lines, really deepening up some sections. That one's accidentally picked up a little bit of white. We can get rid of that with a dry brush. Okay, so now I'm going to start to put some clouds in. Whenever you look at the night sky, it's very rarely completely black or completely deep blue. There's lots and lots of colours in it. So I'm dotting in some heavier colour. I'm using a dry brush here just to smooth it down a bit. It's not quite so sticky outy, for want of a better expression. So now I'm going to mix up some grey, taking some of the white, some of the black in there, and where I've got sections of cloud, I'm going to dot in some grey that's coming off that deep cloud. And this is where you can take sections of it across the moon as well. So slightly lighter touch when I'm going to there. I don't want to destroy all the detail we've got. And again, with a drier brush, I'm just going to smooth down some of those brush marks and blend it in with the black section that we've got there. So all of that should be blending quite evenly in from the black. And then we'll go in with a much paler bit. And with a much smaller brush, I've gone to a size 1 brush here. Now I'm just going to dot along the edge of this cloud. And again, back to my favourite dry brush as well. I blend that in slightly too, so we haven't got any harsh lines anywhere. Okay, so I've done that. And now around the moon, just got a little bit of the powder here. It hasn't even got any cocoa butter on it. But I'm just sort of dusting in around the moon a little bit of shading. Just that we've got this glow coming off it. It's just a dry brush and dry powder. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll just put in some stars. So I've got a tiny brush and I've got pure white paint. So my tiny brush in this case is a treble 0, but anything in the 0 ranges really. And I am just barely touching the fondant with the very edge of the brush. Okay, and there we go, night sky.